Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're just going to do another velocity banking review. But before we get started, I just want to quickly mention we are almost at 3,900 subs and we're going to reach 4,000 soon. Isn't it exciting? And then I'll be like, the cult is growing, right? And there are a lot of wannabe cult members. And what I mean by that, if I take a look at the channel analytics here, a lot of you all watch but you're not subscribed. I'm very fascinated by this. Look at this, 1,400 watch hours from non-subscribers. Don't be ashamed. Listen, you want to be part of the cult? Click the subscribe button below or somewhere, wherever it is, and be part of the cult. Devote yourself, right? And the reason why I always use words like cult and devotion is too many people, I'm going to tell you, they're too passive in their lives, right? They got, you ask them like, what's your values? What do you care about? It's an empty set of air. Okay. But in this cult, we care about financial freedom. And not only that, I also care about you giving me money, right? I'll talk about that later. But right, but let's go ahead and get started. So, what is velocity banking? All it is a debt payoff strategy where you throw all your money into debt with the help of a line of credit. And one of the things I really loved about this strategy is that it's really easy. Like it's really easy. Like you look at other debt payoff strategies, like Dave Ramsey, like what's step one? Oh, there's 7 steps. Seven is too much for me. I'm like tuned out if there's more than like 2 or 3 steps. Okay. But the first step is save $1,000. Now, if you take a look here at this budget, and we only have $84 in savings, how am I going to save $1,000? And I got all this debt. Can someone tell me how I'm going to save $1,000? I ain't going to do that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this thing called velocity banking, where you have the same income, you got the same expenses, right? Same income, same expenses, but we don't save money, right? We don't save money and we're gonna throw all our money into debt with the help of a line of credit. So let's go ahead and do this. And we're gonna have something called cash flow, which is kind of like our savings, but it's kind of not. And let's imagine we had this cool thing called a line of credit. Line of credit, $280,000. This is my line of credit. I remember when I first got this, I was like feeling like I put on the infinity glove for the first time. I was like, I can do anything with this, right? So I put it on. They charged me a 7.5% interest rate. And I could go to the bank's website and they like click a button, right? Click a button on the bank's website, and then they'll dump cash into my checking account at like a 7.5% interest rate. So so here we go. Um, you see how I don't save money? You see that? See that? I don't save money because when money comes into my checking account, if I have debt, it goes into a line of credit. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. And is this the right one? Yeah. Let's assume we have a $65,000 line of credit. Now, the beauty of this strategy, okay, is that if you just pay off the debt in the right order and just make sure your checking account balance goes to zero, you'll be good. You'll be good, right? And so I use this thing called the cash flow index. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but I'll just do a Google search, cash flow index. You see this right here. It's the formula that is loan balance divided by minimum monthly payment, and it gives you a number, and the number is like a ranking system, right? You want to delete or eliminate all the inefficient loans first, okay? First. So credit cards and short term, those buy now, pay laters, those are inefficient loans because the higher the interest and the shorter the term, right? Then that eats up more cash flow. And I'm going to show you something, okay? Let me just show you something right here. Um, fight to ban school zone speed cameras begins in Georgia. I like that. I like that. But before wait, I get too distracted, um, okay, this is what we're going to search on, which is buy now, pay later. Okay. Buy now, pay later. All right. So you see like Affirm, Afterpay. These options have been really popular since like 2020 or something like that. Like, sometimes you see things that come out of the woodwork. It's like, where did TikTok become popular? Or like, how did these become popular? And that's because most people don't know how to manage their finances. And so if I type in Affirm annual revenue, right? 2.32 billion, look at that, right? 2.32 billion in 2024, 46% growth. So if I'm looking for a stock, right, stock analysis, and you want to bet that people aren't going to do the right thing, I'd probably bet on these guys, right? Not giving any financial or stock advice. I'm just saying, just looking at the what's growing, right? So the buy now, pay laters. Those are the no buenos. All right. So we do that thing called the cash flow index. So what we do is we're going to take the balance and then divide it by the monthly payment. Okay. And so let me just do this. And I just want to format it so it only has two decimal places, right? So really easy. And I just know from experience that credit cards and short-term loans have the lowest, but you just take the balance and divide by the payment, right? So this is 35,000, excuse me, 137.5. And then this one is actually with these loans right here, I'm going to cheat because I have all the cash flow indexes right here, right? And so oh my goodness, I am sneezing. Okay, so you see right here, these, oh, what am I doing? Okay, all right. So you see these cash flow indexes, right? Cash flow indexes. And I'm just gonna copy and paste them right here, okay? And so think of this as a ranking system. So the lower the number, the more cash flow you get for paying it off. So, for example, if I pay off this 35 grand, yeah, and the interest rate does affect it, even though the formula doesn't count for the interest rate. If I pay off this 35 grand, I get $1,100 in my cash flow. But if I pay off this 250 grand, I only get this itty bitty $1,000 in my cash flow, right? And so let's go ahead and start with these low cash flow index numbers. So how much debt is this? This is 2735, and I'm going to go ahead. So this is $62,000, all right, 62000 in our balance, $62,000, okay? And guess what happens when the 62,000 is moved? We do a debt transfer, these go to zero, and we magically went from $84 to 2,076, right? So I don't know of any other strategy where if you just had the tool, the line of credit, right? 65,000, um, that would just immediately increase your cash flow. I don't know any other strategy like that. You see how easy it is? And the last step is just make sure that all of your paycheck goes into line of credit. And then when you need to pay out your expenses, and usually for me, these are just credit card bills because I still pay for my general expenses, my food, gas, insurance with credit cards, right? A credit card is like a free 30-day loan for me or interest-free 30-day loan. And then you just rinse and repeat over and over again, right? So let's go ahead and do this. And I'm going to do this. And then this is going to be G2 plus H2 minus 2076.99. And then I am going to do this, take the average daily balance, multiply it by the interest rate, and then you divide by 12, okay? So that's all you got to do, right? So you just do this, paycheck in, expenses out, and then your cash flow will be used to decrease this credit card debt. Oh my goodness, look how easy this is, right? I don't even have to think. And if the beauty of this strategy is that I don't have to like do an exact budget. I could just do an approximate budget. You know what I mean? Like, oh, on average, it'll go down 2,000. But, even me myself, I have negative cash flow months because I might spend like 10 grand here, 20 grand here. And then other months, I might get more money than expected. So it's never for me $2,000 a month, especially if you're doing real estate investing. You think you had negative, I'm not negative, you got positive like $200, $300 of cash flow a month. And then bam, your HVAC system goes out because it's like more than 15 years old, right? Like, think about that. So, love this strategy because it makes my life so easy. All right, so now let's go ahead and I am going to see how many months did it take us? 34 months. So 34 months. And we have $62,000 of debt paid off. $62,000 of debt. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead And at 34 months, let's figure out the balance of these loans. 34, 34, 34, 34. And again, I'm going to take the lowest cash flow indexes. So the thing about amortized loans is that the cash flow indexes do change over time, whereas with lines of credit, they don't, because a line of credit is always going to be a certain percent. The payment is always going to be, for the most part, a certain percentage of the balance, where with an amortized loan, the payment is always fixed, right? The payment is always fixed. So therefore this will change. And this change happens because this is such a short term, right? Whereas the longer the term, this, the change doesn't happen that much. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. And I am going to copy this. And this is going to be 20 grand, 2851.91. 2851.91. So let me do this. So this is now 00. And then I am going to copy and paste. And 2851.91 plus 20851.91. Okay. And I am going to do this. And this is going to be our new cash flow, which is almost $3,000. And again, rinse and repeat over and over again. Paycheck in, expenses out, paycheck in, expenses out. This is so easy. Or right, so this is 2923.95. Okay. And then let's go ahead and do that. And we are debt free on month 41 with our cars. 41 months. Okay. Why did I do this? All right. So 41 months, and then this is going to be 62 plus 20 plus 25. It's 107K. And then now we have our student loan and our mortgage. So what month are we at? Our currently 41 months. So this is 00, 41, 41. Whoopsie. And we got 14 grand, so it's not a big balance. Now here's the thing, okay? If you got a lower interest rate loan and you're dealing with a higher interest rate line of credit, you don't want to put the whole loan into a line of credit. Or I'm sorry, yeah, you don't want to put the whole loan into a line of credit. And I've seen this advice given by other velocity bankers, always like replace the loan with the line. And we're going to talk about that more with the mortgage, because the mortgage has a higher difference rate in the interest than this one. So for this one, I feel okay putting it in, even though the cash flow index is technically higher than 50. It's a low balance, so we can get rid of it, I think, even though it's not the most efficient way of paying it, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and do this, and I'm gonna just do Control V, and then this is gonna be plus 14461.82, right? And I'm gonna do that, and then okay, student loan gone, 0. New cash flow index, or cash flow, is about 3 grand. $31145.99. All right, so now this is it. And so where are we at? Month 46. Month 46, right? 46 months. And then this is 127K, 127K. All right, so now 46 months, 250,000 for 204. All right. So what do we do to attack this loan? Do we put this whole thing into a line of credit? The answer is no. And the reason why we don't is because look at this. If I move this 3%, $229,000 balance into an 8% line of credit, I only get a $1,000 of cash flow, right? That's what this huge cash flow index number means. So here's the thing about a huge cash flow index number. Cash flow versus the interest paid is a trade-off. What do I mean by that? So even though this takes up a small amount of cash flow, if I go to the full term of the loan, which is 360 months, 30 years, look how much interest I pay, 129 grand. That's a no bueno, right? So that's why banks love and they banks actually don't collect the income stream, they just sell it right after. But the people who are collecting your money love it because it's a predictable income stream that's going to give them about like a 50% return at 3%, which they will never do because interest rates are like 6%, right? 6, 7, 8. All right. So an easy way that we can still use a line of credit and pay it off quickly without segregating our income, and this is the biggest benefit, is that it makes it easy for you to do this, is just do the chunking method. Just put a small piece of the loan into the line of credit and then rinse and repeat over and over again. So let's say that I move, how much is our paycheck right now? Say I move $7,000 into the line of credit. So 7,000 here. We move it into the line of credit. I'm going to show you right here. Okay. So I'm going to do this plus 7,000, right? And then let's see how long it takes us to pay off that 7,000. 2 months. Oh my goodness. That's easy, right? So again, the most important part about this stage is that the mortgage is the last debt that we pay off because it just provides us such little cash flow for paying it off. You get that? So, people focus on a chunk amount and all that, but it's just use a small amount, pay it off quickly, and as long as you have that maximum cash flow because you paid off your debts in the right order, that's really all that matters. And you might be like, but what about the interest rate difference? And here's the thing. Sometimes you might pay a little bit more than you have to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you a 0% interest loan, right? So let's say that and I'm going to show you the worst case scenario to see, hey, how much could you overpay if you literally had a 0% interest loan and you were going to use an 8% line of credit to pay it using this chunking method that I talk about. Okay. I'm going to show you and you're going to be shocked. You'll be like, what the F? Like, when interest rates went from like 4% to 6%, I thought it was like the end of the world. We're actually going to use an 8% line of credit to show you what the worst case scenario is of paying a 0% interest loan. Okay. So luckily we got the velocity banking calculator. So let me open that up. And if you don't know where this is from Renatus. This is where I originally learned velocity banking from. So, at the beginning of the video, I was like, give me the money, right? Well, I'm an independent contracted marketer. I resell their education. And if you want to learn not just velocity banking, but real estate investing, financial literacy, click the Google form link below. Click it, right? Click it below. Give me the money and then pay me, right? Well, actually, you pay Renatus the link and then, or you pay Renatus and they give me a commission. So I just resell their stuff because it's where I learned it. So if you want to learn, then you pay, and if you don't, I don't know what people like make a big deal like, oh my goodness, you're trying to sell me stuff. It's like, well, name a job where stuff isn't sold. You know what I mean? Like unless you work for the government, and I think they're kind of getting rid of all that based on what's happening due to current political and government events. But let's go ahead and even the government, you gotta sell a lot of stuff too. Right? Government bidding and procurement, that's like this whole it's like a whole field and subspecialty, but all right, I'll just keep going. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. And I'm gonna do 250,000, 0%. And how much is that? This is a 694.44. And we're just gonna do a $7,000 chunk. And then what we're gonna do is $6,700. And what's our living expenses, which is everything except for the one we're trying to pay off, 2,500. Okay, so let's say I was like, oh my goodness, I love this velocity banking strategy and loan bad even at 0%, and I got to use an 8% line of credit to do this. What's the most that you're going to overpay? Obviously, you're going to overpay because you're literally using a tool with interest to pay something without interest, right? Because what does this mean? Well, after 30 years, you're not literally not going to pay over 250,000, 0%, right? So if I use an 8% tool to help pay it off, worst thing that can happen is 1,400. Now, if I do this, which is replace the loan with the line of credit, ooh, 70 grand of interest. 70 grand of interest. That's a no bueno, and I don't want to deal with that. Okay. So let's just kind of yeah. Now you know, like, so you don't have to really fear it. So I'm just gonna do 3%. So this is gonna be 3%, 1054.01, 1054.01. And what's the current balance? It is 229,113.65. 229,113.65. All right, so it's 5 years to pay it off. All right, that's cool. Look at how much interest we pay. Not that much. I don't even mind paying the bank a little bit of interest. I just don't want to pay them 100 grand. You know what I mean? Like that's like, no thanks. But I'll pay you a little bit because you helped me get the loan, but not this much. Okay. All right. So now it's 5 years, 5 years, 5 years. So it's 46 divided by 12 plus 5, which is 8.83 years. And then we are debt free, not dent free. Or is this Harvey Dent? No, debt free. Debt free. All right. And that's it. See how easy that was? You just rank the loans and the credit or the debt, pay them off in the right order, right? And then I guess it's just a lot of winning now. Right? So this is now 0. And then yeah. This is what the stage, if once you have all your debts paid off, then you're basically where I call you at rich people problems. And the reason why I say rich people problems is because, see, poor people, they're like, I don't have enough savings and I'm so scared, right? And then rich people are like, I got too much savings and I know that my money's going to be eaten away by inflation. So I want to invest in something. And, here's a pro tip. If you ever want to raise money, just find like the richest person that you know. And if you have a decent proposal that's not a black hole that looks kind of interesting, they're willing to invest, right? There's a reason why the SEC has so many regulations of raising money from poor people rather than rich people. What was it, like under 250 or something like that with the unaccredited investor? I don't even know if you can raise money from them. You know what I mean? All right. So, yeah, that's it for today. It's Crane Atlanta mentorship. And yeah, I have nothing else. Probably make another video later today. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video.